We just got new footage of Lakers center DeAndre Ayton training and working on his game for next season. People really haven't talked much about him since he signed with the team and chose them over several others that wanted him. But he's been grinding in silence. From this video alone, he looks in great shape. Sometimes I forget how skilled NBA players really are, and this is proof. Even 7-foot centers, who usually get labeled as slow or one-dimensional, can show surprising talent, and Ayton shows it here. He's taking guys off the dribble, scoring at the rim with both hands, finishing in different ways, hitting threes, isolating, flashing his handles, and looking way more skilled than most fans give him credit for. It's a reminder of how huge the gap is between NBA players and casual fans. But after watching this clip of him putting in work for next season, the big question is, what kind of role will he actually have with the Lakers? So what will Ayton's role be with the Lakers next season? Coming to a new team with Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves, things are going to be very different for him. Will it be better, worse, or just uncomfortable? How much will he need to adjust his mindset to accept a smaller role? Compared to Portland or Phoenix, how much will actually change, and will this fit be good for him at all? That's the real question. Honestly, both we and Ayton himself have to start with one thing, accepting his role. And let's keep it real, he hasn't been great at that before. Rumors and past reports have said he pushed back when the offense didn't revolve around him, or when he wasn't treated as a centerpiece. If he runs into that same problem in LA, with guys like LeBron and Davis demanding the ball, it could get ugly fast. The big issue with Ayton is that he can look uncommitted on the court and sometimes not much of a team player. Now on the Lakers, he almost certainly won't be a top 3 option. He'll be behind Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and even Austin Reeves, maybe even sharing touches with Rui Hachimura or a role guy off the bench. That means he won't get a high usage rate, and he can't expect otherwise. He has to accept that reality. If you really want to look at it from a numbers standpoint, his best year was actually the 2020-21 season in Phoenix, when the Suns went to the finals. That season he had just an 18.2% usage rate, the lowest of his career, but it was also when he played his most efficient basketball and was clearly his best as a true team player. He wasn't dominating touches, but he was a major part of winning. That should be the lesson for him in LA. He's not the star, but if he buys into the role, he can still be vital. Up 20-plus points per game or being a top 2 option for their team, but by simply being the ultimate team player for them, which is something that's not normally associated with DeAndre anymore, unfortunately. But going back to that season, he definitely was that player for them and definitely was simply that guy for their team. Only averaging, and I say only in quotation marks here, 14. 4 points per game, but done a very efficient 62.66% from the field, even better during the postseason. 8 in becoming the first player in NBA playoff history to average 15-plus points per game, 11-plus rebounds per game while shooting above 65% from the field. So again, simply being the ultimate team player for them, filling his role to a T and really to perfection with them, running the pick and roll game perfectly with CP3, being a great 3rd or 4th option to them and even behind Mikal Bridges at times, but it simply didn't matter to him, at least not at that point, and he's really got to get back to that. Even talking about his defense, as that was another big pro to his game back then. It sometimes still is, but he is coming off his worst defensive year in my opinion, having a -4 defensive BPM rating, also having a negative defensive EPM rating. So although you might be able to find some defensive metrics that point to him being positive, and yes, he definitely can be on that level as a defender, it's not been very consistent for him dating back to his time with Phoenix. So he does have to get back to that in my opinion. And well, like I said, that's really the first thing that DeAndre does have to accept with their team. Simply getting back to being a team player and filling whatever role that's required of him. Not caring about the points per game, his usage rate, or how involved he is within their offense or game plan in general. Simply caring about being the best role player they can for their team and the best all-around team player that he can as well. That's really got to be first and foremost for him. But if he can get past that, hopefully he can, and I'm definitely rooting for him. He does fear to have the mindset for it and definitely has said all the right things about it so far. But if he can get past that, then we can talk about what he should do after that point. And well, that's kind of up for debate here. And I don't really care about it from a points for game standpoint. I'm looking at it more on offense from a teammate perspective and how he'll operate with LeBron James and Luka Doncic, which will definitely be a lot more pick and roll oriented. I mean, we've seen it a little bit between Luka Doncic, LeBron, and Jackson Hayes. Obviously, a very good line threat for them, but definitely not on the talent level of a DeAndre. And no, again, I'm not talking about points per game with DeAndre Denver. I'm not talking about him getting the ball a lot and doing stuff with their team from the post. I'm simply talking about him and how he might operate with those two on the court, meaning Luka Doncic and LeBron James. And well, in that regard, he definitely will be a great pick and roll partner for them. Whether you're talking about being a finisher at the rim or finishing above the rim, aka being a lob threat, he definitely can do that for them. Last season, DeAndre was tied for 16th in dunk points per game, averaging over 6 of them per game, actually. Being tied with Luka Doncic's former teammate and LeBron's former teammate and both of their former centers. Yes, I mean Derek Lively and Anthony Davis, he was tied directly with them last season. So now pairing him with Luka Doncic and LeBron on the court, that should be a pretty damn good pick and roll pairing between them. Whether you're talking about the long threat ability, him being a dump-off guy around the rim, somebody to dump it off to, and he actually has a good touch around the rim, not afraid to actually go to a move and actually does have go-to moves around the rim. Unfortunately, unlike Jackson Hayes, I really can't say that for him. I'm a lot more confident in DeAndre to fill that role for their team and being a lot more productive in that role for their team too. Not only for his finishing at the rim or finishing above the rim, but then for his ability to finish outside the paint, meaning that he does have a jump shot to his game. And although it's not a three-point shot, at least not yet and at least not reliably yet, he does have a pretty damn good mid-range shot. I mean, if we pull up his 2024-25 NBA season shot chart, DeAndre Ayton was pretty efficient from the mid-range. If we're looking at the free throw line, he shot roughly 51%. And that's well above average, especially for a big man like himself. From the right wing here, shooting 50%, even more above average, and that's absolutely elite in the NBA. I mean, any mid-range shooter, if you're shooting about 45%, that's pretty damn good. But if you're at about 50%, that's great. Even from the left corner here, which isn't his specialty and not a sweet spot on the court, even tuning an average 42% from the field. So, pretty damn good for DeAndre Ayton. He can not only pick and roll, but even pick and pop a little bit. You know, again, not quite to the three-point line, but for a mid-range shot, then kind of pull the defender away with him. Whether that gives more room for himself to get off a shot or more room for LeBron or Luka to get to the rim, that's an obvious pro to his game and a pro that will actually benefit more teammates around him too. So, in my opinion, that's kind of the offense outlook here with DeAndre. Simply not try and do too much and simply be the best pick and roll partner that he can be. Whether that's with Luka Doncic, LeBron James and or Austin Reeves, be a great pick and roll partner. With them or even a pick and pop partner. Simply get what he gets in the court. Whether that be a lob at the rim, a dump off around the rim, kind of pop into the mid-range, or maybe for the very occasional three-point shot. That's what DeAndre will be looking at here. And he'll actually be set up great to do it too. Having much better playmaking talent around him now compared to back in Portland, which was actually some of the worst in the entire NBA. So, this should feel like heaven for him coming to play with Luka Doncic and LeBron James, who would likely get more quality shots and get him more open than ever before, or at least since playing with Chris Paul back in Phoenix. So, again, that's the offensive outlook with DeAndre, but how about the defensive outlook? What will he be looked at to do for their team? And what will his expectations be with their team too? Well, obviously he'll be the rim protector, their last line of defense. So, that's something he's got to prioritize, not fouling too much, actually being committed to doing it and not taking place off on defense. That's number one for DeAndre. And well, he has shown the ability to do it. Again, it wasn't really last season or any part of the past 2 years now with Portland. Obviously having good moments and still shining through of what he can do for a team, but he's got to get back to being more consistent. That's got to be priority number one for him again. Actually caring about it and buying into that part of his role again, not simply taking place off and not caring too much about it, only when he wants to or when he feels like it. That's got to become a much bigger priority for him. And well, like I said, he has shown the ability to do it being their last line of defense.